Well, hello. Welcome into More Drummer Daily. This might sound a little different because I am actually just holding my phone in my hand and talking into my phone. Normally I have a microphone, but I'm not today. And let me tell you why. And it's not anything as exciting as you might hope. It is because I was, so let me tell you, I don't have a normal day job, office job or anything like that. So a lot of times let me tell you how my day goes normally. I wake up in the morning, I drink coffee, then I drink more coffee. And sometimes, until right after lunchtime, which is when I'm recording this, I don't actually brush my teeth. Is that gross? Maybe it is, but I'm just being honest with you. So I was upstairs in my bathroom brushing my teeth, and I had the thought for this. I was like, I need to record this as a podcast episode. And I couldn't even be bothered to walk downstairs and grab my microphone before I recorded this podcast. So I dropped what I was doing and hit the record button on my recording app and said, let's do this right now. So, I had this thought. Yesterday, I had the chance to hang out and do a little one-on-one coaching over the internet with another drummer in another city. And he is working on getting his career as a professional drummer started. And we talked about a bunch of different things. But one thing he kind of asked or mentioned kind of sparked a thought in my head that I made sure to mention back to him during the coaching. But he got brought up. He was like, hey, what should I do with my website? Should I have a thing on there where you can book time with me, or say hey, schedule, fill out this thing and buy me for a session or something like that, And maybe it wasn't quite like that, but that's the scenario I want to talk about with you today, because I have in my time, I have come across many people who are working drummers or would like to be working drummers, who set up a website and they write this bio about themselves, and they have this whole thing, and they put up their calendar online and try to show off all the gigs they're playing and all that stuff. And I understand the thought behind that, because you think, man, I need to show other people who might hire me that I'm doing this thing and how professional I am. The problem with that is this, and there's kind of two sides to it. So let me first just talk about the personal side of that. So, I've talked before, and I've talked with many drummers about this one-on-one, but also I know on the podcast I've talked about this idea that for many of us, drumming is something, and music is something that's so important to us. It's something that resonates deep within our soul. It's something that we feel like we were created and born to do. So it's a very deep, rich thing that we get to have in our lives, and it's very important to us. And so for me, I know that a lot of times that aspect of it being part of our lives butts up against the responsibilities we have. Even in the last podcast episode, episode 155 was the previous episode, which, by the way, this is episode 156. We even talked about it then, but it's sometimes the kind of the deep within our soul resonating that this music thing butts up against our responsibilities as an adult, and maybe needing a job or other things like that, or needing to in some ways shape what we play around the idea of what might get us hired as drummers. And I definitely agree and believe that we should treat our music as art and all of those things. And some people are like, oh, you always say we should compromise, and you're actually taking away the art from music, which I get people saying that to me. I understand that. I don't agree, but I understand why people could feel that way sometimes about the things that I talk about. But if you feel that way, if you do feel that music is something rich and deep, that's personal and is a big part of who you are, I do feel like you drummers and musicians as a whole who are trying to make it as a career sometimes kind of over businessify our playing. We over commoditize the drumming, and we don't want that to happen to us, but then we gladly will create a website where drumming is a thing where you just buy a block of my time and you've got me to drum for you, which is just very it's like the difference between going to a mom and pop shop and going to Walmart or whatever, or buying something from Amazon. Sure, it's convenient, but music is still a very personal thing. And so people who hire drummers and hire musicians still do that one-on-one interaction. And the result of people who put a website up are kind of over commoditized. Like, hey, they like, they might post on Instagram, and under every Instagram video, they're like, hey, I'll record your song for $100 a song or something. Like, they just promote like, it's just very like, I guess assembly line, like the way that they kind of promote themselves and what they do as a drummer. That kind of stuff actually gives off the impression to me, and I know it gives off the impression to other people that I know in the music business, that gives off the impression of being amateurish. It does not come across as being professional. And let me tell you why. I have never in my life encountered anyone who has put up a site like that and gotten hired. Like, put up and like book my time and then get hired for a session. I also do not know of anyone, producers, MDs, band leaders, artists, you name it. I do not know anyone who has ever hired a musician who has something like that set up. It just doesn't happen. Hiring of musicians, getting called for gigs, still is exactly that. It's a phone call or a text or maybe a message on, Facebook Messenger or Instagram, whatever. It happens more one-on-one personally. It's because producers don't go shopping for drummers. They find someone, they come across someone that they like, or they already know someone they like, and they hire that person. It's a very personal interaction. So don't waste your time and your money and your effort or whatever it is on creating some process and some store for yourself that is not going to pay off for you. And many times it might actually harm your ability to get a gig. Now, the only exception to that I can think of is if you are someone who maybe offers drum lessons, or you have some other kind of service around music, teaching, you have a book or a video for sale or music for sale or something like that, by all means, still enable yourself to sell those things. And that's an important part of many drummers use a lot of those things as ways of supporting themselves and adding extra income to what they already make from drumming. So by all means, I'm not saying don't do those things if you're don't do those commercial things if you have some other service or product to provide to other people. If I was teaching one-on-one drum lessons, I would have something set up where people could book time or at least kind of get more details. So I'm definitely not saying don't do that. But it just got me thinking, a lot of people think that they have to make themselves appear bigger than they are in the wrong kind of ways in order to get gigs. And that's just not true. People like who they like, producers like who they like, and they don't like who they don't like. And there's no point in trying to pretend that you're something that you're not, when there's plenty of great gigs out there for you if you just show who you are in a positive light, an accurate light, and let other people basically see what you have to offer the world as a drummer. All right, thanks for listening today, and we'll talk again soon. Bye for now.